Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Triple Option Podcast. I'm your co-host, Sharon W, along with Avi Dingery and Nate Austri. Today, we'll be doing a short NFL episode right before the game start this Sunday, November 28th day. We will be covering the Thanksgiving recap as well as looking to some games, and that will be about it. And let's get right into it. Okay, let's start off with the Thanksgiving recap. We probably won't touch on the Lions-Bears games because we don't care too much for our relevancy on this podcast. Let's focus on the games people care about. First of all, let's talk Cowboys Raiders.
I will say one thing about the Lions Bears. I think it's an interesting situation for the Bears because they won, but again, the question remains if they should extend or fire Matt Nagy. But we'll see going forwards.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
Going like you said with the Cowboys and the Raiders. It was a good game all around to watch. Not necessarily for Cowboy fans.
Yeah. The thing I'll say as a Cowboys fan though is you do got to take it with a grain of salt given the fact that Amari Cooper still isn't back. Um,
And
Zeke,
CeeDee Lamb was out.
C. Lamb was also out. That is very much true, and Zeke just wasn't playing well. I don't know. I think like Zeke has a lot of potential. I think a lot of us can agree with that. I think his problem is consistency more than anything. Um,
Well, one thing is that he has been nursing an injury for several weeks, and there are reports that they might bench him next week in order to have him healthy for a potential playoff berth. But that has been
that is
an
true.
issue.
That's true. I think one thing I'll appreciate about McCarthy is getting a lot more comfortable giving Pollard a more significant role in the offense. I think that's going to be necessary going forward if you want to maintain any momentum.
Yep. On the other hand, the Raiders performed well. Derek Carr had yet another sneakily good outing, I'd say. He's
Yeah,
having a quietly good year.
yeah. Derek Carr's been next up in the NFL for the past 5 years, though. So maybe this will be finally the year for his next step.
Um, for Cowboys fans out there, I would like to say don't take this game. Don't be very disappointed about this game. You're missing two of your best receivers. You've been dealing with injuries throughout the year, and it's not often that Anthony Brown is going to pick up four clutch DPIs in like the most important part of the game for the other team to win. So like
Yeah,
Hmm.
this is very much a winnable game for you guys. You stayed in, and there's no need to panic or like start going crazy. You'll be fine.
Yeah.
However, for
yeah,
Raiders fans, though, this should be a good win as the offense looked crisp, it looked great. Derek Carr, usually Derek Carr struggles when teams get more than two or three sacks. However, he was still able to come back and get the win, especially through a good rushing game from Josh Jacobs and Kenny Drake. But this Raiders offense definitely has a lot of firepower and potential throughout the year, even though they lost Henry Ruggs. So they'll
And
still be
and
a playoff team.
it was also promising to see the Raiders overcome the loss of Darren Waller, who got injured early in the first quarter. And despite that, they still managed to go and score lots of points.
also having an interim coach says a lot about the mettle of the team to be able to still push for a solid win against a respectable Cowboys team.
Yeah, shout out to that club. The Raiders were coming off of a three-game losing streak to the Giants, the Chiefs, and the Bengals. So this must be a very good win to come back momentum, especially as they face some of their division rivals in the next few weeks. Hopefully,
And just another interesting stat from this game. This game had 38.5 million viewers, according to CBS, which makes it the largest of the most viewed regular season game ever in NFL history.
in
Which is
comparison, that is more than Game 6 of the 1998 NBA Finals.
wow.
Okay.
Quite crazy.
I mean, that's what you get when you take two large markets of Las Vegas and Dallas, and you put them on a day where everyone's off work.
Hmm. Yeah. So a disappointing loss for the Cowboys, but
Okay,
there's
let's
still
move on
some
to the
promise
other
for the Falcons.
game. Yeah, yeah. I'm not like worried as a Cowboys fan. I don't think like I think a lot of Cowboys fans are calling saying the sky's falling kind of out of their
And yeah,
minds.
just one more note on this game. Shout out to Daniel Carlson, probably the MVP of that game. Clutch consistently. Good showing
Yeah,
for him.
my opponent in fantasy got 21 points off of him. So
Yes, he had 5 field goals, long 56, and he was 3 for 3 on extra points. So
yeah,
good day for him.
let's let's get
Speaking
going
of
to the
good
Bills
days,
and Saints game. Um, it's not necessarily that surprising result because I think this is how we expected the Bills to perform all year. I think we had to question the Saints. So like, what's your future at quarterback? Because I don't think they're gonna.
I mean, and
I'm just not
again, this is
really
a Saints
sure.
team that they're down Alvin Kamara, one of their main offensive weapons, and they really struggled. Trevor Seaman had 163 passing yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. It was not a very productive day.
Yeah, I'm aware of that, but like throughout the year, they've had some struggles at quarterback. Sean Payton has been very reluctant to play Taysom Hill. Obviously, he isn't like a very developed passer. Um, Jameson Winston has some promise this year, but again, inconsistencies and injury. Like, what do you do if you're the Saints? Are you tanking for someone in the draft? Because I think we can all agree of all the quarterbacks in this upcoming draft, as much as we love some of them, even the best of them need at least a couple years to develop. So, do you kind of just stick it out with Winston, or what's the move?
It's interesting. I do agree that the quarterback position was a struggle for this game, but also I think the rushing attack for the Saints really struggled this game. They averaged 1.8 yards per carry and finished with 44 rushing yards, which is just, that's not this type of stat line you're used to seeing from a team who has probably a top 3 running back in the NFL when he's not
Oh yeah,
hurt.
true. But like we know that Alvin Kamara's hurt, he didn't play at this game. So like that's not necessarily an issue we have to like worry about too much. But when it comes to the quarterbacks themselves,
that's the
Sean
thing.
Payton's offense can't function with just a good running back, regardless of how amazing Alvin Kamara is.
I mean, the point to be taken though is that they're missing all of their like first, second, and third string running backs. They're literally running with practice squad players at the moment. Trevor Simeon is not the starter going forward. He was not even considered to be like a second string quarterback. The Saints are dealing with a lot of injuries. Their best receiver is not going to play this entire year. So I don't think there should be too much expectations on them, especially with these injuries to Kamara and Jameis Winston, even though he was playing really good. But like you said, I think they should look towards the draft because even though the quarterback options on this are not that strong, there are still a good amount of options that you can select from, and not a lot of hype and buzz around many quarterbacks. So you could still end up with like an average draft pick and end up with a good quarterback. So I really
Well, yeah,
think
but
that they
true. But
should
like
just continue to win.
if you look at the Sean Payton Dolphins, like say the last couple of years, Drew Brees wasn't a gunslinger quarterback at all. He was much more of a game manager. So if you look at the draft, do you really see any game manager quarterbacks? Like I don't.
I know this might be unpopular, but if the Saints have cap space, they can always go after a guy like Baker Mayfield, who coming out of the draft was compared to Drew Brees a lot, and maybe you could fit him into this offense, and especially with the weapons being healthy next year
He's compared to a
potentially.
younger Drew.
Yeah, younger Drew Brees. Yeah,
I
but
mean,
you
I
can
guess, but
always mold
If
player
him.
if you
comps
if
only
you
go
are
so
yeah,
far.
if you are looking for a comparison out of the draft, his stock has definitely fallen this year. But Sam Howell would probably be your best comparison for like a game management type quarterback.
I could see that. I could,
They definitely
and
have
he
the
has more
assets
mobility
moving
than Drew
forward.
Brees, so it could help. And
Well,
Yeah,
Sam Howell will be
yeah.
falling too.
Looking on the other side of this game, the Buffalo Bills, they're solid offensively. Stephon Diggs has a good day. Dawson Knox, my Ole Miss guy, has 2 touchdowns on 3 receptions.
yeah,
Good to
Yeah,
see him come back after
Josh
injury.
Allen came out there slinging, 82% completion, 260 yards, 4 touchdowns. However, 2 interceptions as
but
well. But that's always
two,
been the case.
five of his incompletions were two of his incompletions were picks. So
Yeah,
yeah,
that's always been a concern for Josh Allen, though. His interception ability just there's
yeah.
sometimes his balls are just not where they're supposed to be. However, he
I think
is
the Bills.
developing a lot,
I
though.
Yeah, I think the Bills needed this game. They had a lot of after last week against the Colts. They needed to kick someone's ass to get their confidence back. Especially they're playing the Pats next week. That'll be their upcoming games are the Pats, the Bucs, the Panthers. the Pats again, the Falcons, and the Jets, you could easily see them finishing like, let's see, let's say they lose to the Pats and the Bucs. That's 7-6. They beat the Panthers 8-6. They lose to the Pats again, eight and
Finish
seven.
11-6.
They could finish. They could finish
Barely
ten
over
and
500.
7.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, their
So,
next
So yeah,
four
tough stretch
games.
going forward for them.
Yeah, their next four games do come against teams that are ranked top five in defense, but also do have very good offenses, especially the Bucs, and
Hmm.
surprisingly the Patriots with Mac Jones. But this will be a real tough challenge for the Bills, and I think it's a good momentum win to come back from the Colts game and just start heating up for the playoffs, especially because we saw what they were like last year. This team has gotten better, has played better. Last year they were like near the bottom of the league in defense. This year they're ranked number two. So I really think if the Bills get it together near the end of the season, they could make a really deep run in the playoffs and potentially the Super Bowl.
yeah.
Hmm.
Before
Okay,
we,
moving forwards, I
yeah,
think we're going to discuss our
some,
picks for this week.
yeah,
All right, starting off with the Bengals and Steelers game, I think it's pretty unanimous that we all picked the Bengals. I picked the Bengals because I don't believe in the Steelers. They looked really abysmal against the Lions. They barely tied that. They would have lost it. The Bengals are pretty hot right now. They have the weapons. Joe Burrow's heating up. Mixon's starting to pick it up more. Jamar Chase, as explosive as he is. And I think this offense is just too explosive at the moment to really
Yeah,
lose
I
to a
agree.
team like Pittsburgh.
I agree. I trust the Bengals offense more than I do the Pittsburgh offense, and for that reason alone, I
yeah.
picked the Bengals.
And let's speed through some of these games so we can get to the games that we really want to discuss. Panthers
So
Dolphins. Um, that's kind of a coin flip of a game. It really depends on like health as well as just kind of luck. Both of these teams have had very up and down seasons.
I agree.
It's,
I haven't seen Carolina the same way when they're without Christian McCaffrey, and I do think that Tua Tagovailoa is a more productive quarterback than Sam Darnold. So
But,
I think.
however, Sam Darnold is not playing at the moment. It is Cam Newton. And
Oh shoot! Yeah, I did
McCaffrey is
think about that.
back. So
even
that's
when
why I
Cam
picked
is
the
playing,
Panthers.
I think he still needs some time to adjust to Matt Rule's
Sure,
to Joe Brady rather offense.
I do see that.
Because Joe Brady's offense is pretty different from what he had in his first tenure at Carolina. So while he did have a good game against Washington, I think as teams get more tape on him under this new offense, he could face some struggles. So I'm not trying to be a Cam hater. I think Cam Newton's a great quarterback, but you just got to give him time in a new offense.
Hmm. Next up, we have Eagles versus Giants.
Uh,
We all picked the Eagles.
Giants are a shit show right now. Just Eagles.
They're just bad.
Yeah.
The Eagles are heating up.
Yeah. Titans, Patriots. Now we all chose the Patriots, but Titans. I think this is an important game for them. Even if they lose in the right way, which sounds really weird, it could help their season because the season so far has just been giving the ball to Derrick Henry. Well, you ain't got Derrick Henry no more for what seems like the rest of the season.
Mhm.
So where do
And
you go from here?
yes,
You got Julio Jones, you got AJ Brown. Can you use your weapons and maybe like show that you can be a multi-dimensional offense?
Yeah. At the end of the day, though, we're still picking the Patriots. They're pretty hot. They have not lost since the Cowboys game, and they've been putting up some very impressive numbers. The defense has been showing up, and they've been able to isolate on the passing game and really take away from the quarterback. Mac Jones has been very impressive so far. Even though he might not be the flashiest rookie, he is the most pro ready at the moment, although his ceiling is to be questioned. Yeah, that's just
Mhm.
kind of why I'll pick the Patriots.
And one more thing to note for the Titans is that they dropped Adrian Peterson earlier this week, and then Jeremy McNichols is out with a concussion, so they're down to basically their fourth string running back to start, which is not what you want to see with an offense that relies on the run game so much.
Yeah, this would be truly a testament for the Titans.
Let's go to Falcons Jags. We had a bit of a split here, but it's not really much of a scheme issue. Just like both these teams have been struggling this year. It's kind of a flip of a coin. So
I think this might be the game that Trevor Lawrence actually shows up. He starts to play a little bit better.
Yeah, I feel
He's
like
adjusted to the NFL and he has to pick it up now.
I agree. The only thing like I see happening is maybe Kyle Pitts having a monster game. I'm still waiting for him. He had the one game in London, but I mean, if he comes out and has a great game, I think Falcons would win. But otherwise, I'm picking Trevor Lawrence and the Jags.
yeah. Let's speed through this because the games don't start too long from now. Bucks Colts. I think we all chose the Bucks. Reason we started this game is Colts have been a bit of a hot streak. Carson Wentz has been playing decent. Jonathan Taylor's been popping off.
But it's the
These
Bucks,
Colts,
and their front seven is like no other in the NFL.
yeah,
And then for a team where they're running, I mean, it's gonna be a good battle between Jonathan Taylor and the Bucks defensive front. But I'll pick the Bucks front. I've seen them shut
It'll
down
be a
like
yeah,
battle. It'll
Steelers.
be a battle in the trenches, but I do think the Bucks come on top. Especially Brady. I think he will ball out this game.
yeah,
Just like all year.
yeah.
Moving
And then
on
Jets
to
Texans.
the Jets and the Texans. Yeah,
Jets Texans. Again, Jets Texans coin flip game. Both teams are struggling. Chargers Broncos. Chargers obviously.
the Broncos are
Vikings
hot.
49ers.
Yeah,
These teams have been struggling, but in a different way
Broncos
from like
49ers. What are you talking about, Tarun?
I mean Vikings 49ers. I
yeah.
misspoke. Vikings 49ers. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, so me and Nate picked the 49ers, Avi also picked the Vikings. We started this game because they're both struggling, but like in a different kind of way, where you can see it's almost there. It's just a wonder, can one of these teams break out in this game?
I'll just say that the 49ers 2 weeks ago had a very impressive win against the Rams. Deebo Samuel's having a great year, and Jimmy G is obviously healthy, so he's starting to pick up his production a little bit. For that reason, I trust them. I did think Kirk Cousins is having a good year, but I just
Kirk Cousins.
I think the 49ers are a more complete team than them.
Yeah.
Currently, the way that I see it, I think the Vikings have one of the best offenses in the league. Kirk Cousins has been honestly having one of the best years in the league at the moment, only throwing 2 interceptions to 21 touchdowns. They've been pretty hot as of recent, as the Vikings are on a they're on a 2 game win streak, and I do think that this will continue towards a playoff push. I really, outside of Debo, that 49ers offense has been kind of inconsistent. They're still trying to get things together. The running game has been kind of outside of Debo has been kind of a lost
Yeah,
identity for them.
they've been running Deebo, and it's working, and it's really
Yeah,
confusing.
Debo is quite a monster. However, I do think this offense just takes over for a defense, especially against the Niners defense that, even though it is quite talented, has seen its struggles this year, especially in the secondary. And if you look at this Vikings team, they have some of the best receivers in the league. So I do think it's not going to be a blowout. I think it'll be close, but I do think the Vikings come out on top. However,
Mhm.
moving to the other side of the NFC West, we have the
Yeah,
Rams and the
Avi,
Packers.
let's discuss Browns, Ravens, and Seahawks, Washington real quick so we can focus on Rams, Packers at the end
Yeah,
because I think that's like the
yeah,
main game all people are focusing on.
yeah.
Mhm. Browns kind of seem like a just struggling team. They have like no momentum. Their fan base isn't even supporting them. It's gonna be tough for them to turn that around. They do possibly get Kareem Hunt back for this game, so we'll see if that has an effect and if he does play.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
And Seahawks, Washington. Washington's coming in the season with quite a bit of hype actually, but a lot of it's died down. Alex Hynek doesn't seem to be the Taylor Hynek rather.
Yeah, I was about to say who's Alex.
Who's
Oh,
Alex?
Yeah, Taylor. I could mix up Alex Smith and Taylor Hynek, but he doesn't seem to be an answer quarterback. Definitely like a solid guy, but probably can't win today's NFL with him. Seahawks. It's been a crap show as a
I'm just
residential
waiting.
Seahawks fan. Will
I'm
rant
just
about
waiting.
constantly.
I feel like Russell Wilson is overdue for a good game. It hasn't happened in a while, and I know Seahawks running game is like practically gone. But when you have wide receivers like Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf, you can't just constantly be having zero production.
It's
So
sucky.
I think this is the game they come out and play well.
Hopefully.
We'll
Like,
see what happens.
looking at our roster at the moment, we are down to our fourth string running back because Chris Carson's out with neck injury. Rashad Penny has torn his ACL for the third time. Alex Collins is out some off the field problems. So we don't have a running game. We're going to be passing heavy, and I don't think the passing scheme has worked this year that well. In comparison, last year we were the number one offense in yards and points. This year we are bottom three. So I do think the scheme change. Maybe it's the scheme changes, the talent, or we've been figured out. Especially against a team that's been heating up in the Washington football team, especially against a good win against Carolina with Taylor Heineke also balling out. I do think that Washington wins this, and this might be the game that sets the tone for the Seahawks offseason and maybe moving Russell Wilson or making big changes in the organization.
Hmm. Okay, moving forward, we probably have America's game of the week, probably the Rams versus Packers. Me and I'll be both. Let's see why you pick Packers, Ryan.
I think at some point, I just think last game against the Vikings was kind of a weird game, which the offense executed. I don't think the defense plays that horrendously 2 weeks in a row, and a lot of it's a gut feeling, and it's the damn Packers. And the Rams are too inconsistent as a team. The Rams are like the Nets of the NFL, to kind of throw into a basketball reference into it, where it's a crap ton of talent, but it just hasn't had time to matriculate together. And that's kind of my reasoning behind it.
Yeah,
I just feel like the. Yeah, go ahead, Abby.
I picked the Rams because I think Matthew
Y'all
Stafford has
there?
been heating up. Yeah, Matthew Stafford has been heating up these past few games, even though he had that horrendous loss to the 49ers. I think this team's about to pick it up, even though like losing Robert Woods was horrible for this team. They picked up Odell, who I think when healthy is a top five receiver in the league. He has that potential. He has that talent. He's had that production. This Rams offense is going to be very explosive. Um, Even though I think the Packers might go on like a little skid, especially because this Rams team last year in the playoffs with a very similar talent provided them with a lot of trouble, even in Green Bay. That was with Jared Goofball. This is Matthew Stafford. I think the offense comes out rolling. I think this might be. I don't think this will be like a dominant win in the score sheet, like in the score, but I think this will be like a dominant win for them in the game in like terms of like defense and sacks and the amount of pressure they put on Aaron Rodgers because that blueprint is out there, and the Rams are one of the teams that can fit that blueprint.
I agree. I think the Rams are a complete team. I mean, even just looking, where they did lose Robert Woods, but it was such a weird timing because they did it like the moment they got Odell Beckham. So it almost hopefully doesn't matter going forwards when Odell Beckham adjusts to this offense. And obviously they still have Cooper Kupp, who's having an insane season. And then running back they have Darrell Henderson, who's been productive in Cam Akers' absence. So I think the Rams are going to win this game just because they're complete. Their defense has been playing well all year, and I trust Matthew Stafford in this offense more than I do Aaron Rodgers.
Okay, let's call that an episode. Thank you all for listening in to the Triple Option Podcast. Subscribe, and comment what you think. And we will see y'all next time.
Thank you.
Thank you.